Muslims love to use Rebecca as a scapegoat when we bring up Aisha's age of 6 when Muhammad married her. In this video, Rob from Sentinel Apologetics explains how the Book of Jubilees, which predates rabbinic texts by 500 years, clearly shows that Rebecca was 20 to 25 years old when she was married to Isaac.
It's very surprising for you to tell me your prophet is, astaghfirullah, Alim. It's disgusting for someone as a Christian like yourself to say that my prophet is a pedophile, when in your own books, in the Old Testament, it literally says Rebecca married Isaac Isaac married Rebecca when he was 37 and she was the age of 3. So before you come and condemn me, condemn your Bible.
First and foremost, Hondo, in regards to the age of Rebecca, nowhere in the Genesis account does it give you the age of Rebecca. So that's the first point to remember. Secondly, the age of 3 was written by rabbinic Jews literally 300-400 years after Jesus. So in the 3rd, 4th century CE, in the rabbinic Talmudic text, it wasn't consensus. It was a discussion about the fact that there's no ages given in Genesis. If you read it very carefully in the Talmud, they're debating about what age Rebecca was when she married. One proposed 3, others proposed 16, others proposed 20. There's variations of the ages because they're trying to calibrate the ages given in Genesis. Okay, that's the second point. The third point to remember. Okay, the third point to remember is that before the Talmudic Jews, okay, during what we call the Second Temple Jewish, people group. So, say the Qumran community, the Dead Sea Scroll community. That community had a text called the Book of Jubilees. So here's the title of the book, Jubilees. See how the date is 2nd century BC? This is at least 500, 600 years before the Talmud. All right? Now, it's called Jubilees because it's a Jewish book that focuses on the Jubilee cycles in the calendar of the day. All right? Now, this then is a vital witness to know what people were thinking about Rebecca and her age well before Jesus, at least 200 years before Jesus. This is the first mention of Rebecca's age. And see how it says in verse 27, and they ate and they drank, she and her sons, that night. And then it says, because it's a joyful reunion, it's a joyful thing that happened. And she died, notice, at the age of 3 jubilees and 1 week and 1 year on that night. Now, when you read the rest of Jubilees, especially when they get married and so on, it also gives you the age for Isaac. All right? Now, guess what? 3 Jubilees. So Jubilee is 49 years. So 3 times 49. Now, 1 week represents 7 years and 1 year. So 3 Jubilees, another 7 years, and then 1 more year adds up to 155 is the age that she died. When you go backwards, okay, when you count back 155 years to when she gets married, guess how old she is? She's 20. She's 20 years old, not 3. And this is in the book that predates the rabbinic Talmudic text by 500, 600 years thereabouts, that argued for a range of dates. One of them being 3, but they didn't.
Okay, can I interject for a second? Yes. Are you familiar with Rashi?
Yeah.
So in regards to that, the vast majority of scholars, especially from the Old Testament, vast majority accept that she was the age of 3.
What you need to do then, is give me a list of the scholars, because I will promise you, you will find it very hard to find. When you say vast majority of scholars, it's not in any tafsir.
If I give you 25, okay, so
give me 25. I would love to see 25 scholars that are commentating on Genesis that says she's 3. You're bringing up the Jewish sources. Here's the Jewish tafsir, the Jewish encyclopedia. Notice under the category Rebecca, they go through Rebecca, right? They go through her biography. In the context of rabbinic literature, the rabbis disagree as to the age of Rebecca at the time of her marriage to Isaac.
Yeah,
notice that one of them is 3 years old. But other rabbis, however, conclude from calculations that she was 14 and that therefore she was born 11 years before Akedah. Then when you come down at the end of the conclusion of this article, do you know what it says? According to the Book of Jubilees, Jacob, when he arrived home, found his mother alive. She afterward accompanied him to Bethel to accomplish his vow. She died at the age of 155, 5 years before Isaac's death. This determining that her age when she married was 20. So the so-called
Wait, wait,
vast
wait.
majority
One second.
that hold to a 3-year-old age is bunk. It's
Okay,
stupid.
brother.
Can I add something?
Okay. Wait, 1 second. I love how you're being so disingenuous. You go to a website and you said, "Oh, there's disagreements." If I were to go and search, I can probably get it for you by tomorrow, as early if I want
Why
to.
tomorrow, eh?
If I get
Just like Muhammad.
It-
Hey, Muhammad, who's good? Dul Kanain?
Let me-
Oh, I'll give you the answer
wait,
tomorrow. And then 15 days later, he gives the answer. Are you going to do the same?
At 18. It's a minority opinion.
Yes,
Well, one sec-
exactly. There are some
Exactly, so-
people that believe that her age was actually like there's a different opinion that her age could be 17 or 18. So we can use your exact point against you right here.
Are you talking to me?
Bingo.
argue
You see the
about
double
why-
standard?
Wait,
Do you see the double standard?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Wait,
you don't have double
wait.
standards. You have double standards.
No, there was something I want to
So-
also bring
so-
up.
Wait, me or
So when
him?
it's convenient.
Wait, 1 second. Are you guys making
that
that point
when
to
she
me? Or...
gets engaged at 6 and gets consummated at 9, see, Rebecca's 3. But the moment
I'm
I show
confused.
you, no,
Wait, sorry.
There's
Him, wait,
rabbis
1
that say
second.
she's
I'm
14.
asking, did they,
And he actually
they-
Jubilees, which is
You
well before the rabbis,
point out
saying that she
a
married
minority
20.
opinion, and to
Oh,
retort
what's it
to
have
you,
to say?
I state
That means Aisha
is a
was married at
minority
16.
opinion, and you
Hey,
can't
1
argue that.
second. You're saying to me it's not a popular opinion, but if you even go on Google and search up how old is Rebecca when she
Go
married
on
Isaac,
Google. If I go on Google.
9 of
You
the
said
first
scholars.
things, 9
Show
of
me the
first things,
scholars.
9. 1
Show
second.
me the scholars.
9 of the
One
she was
scholarly
three.
name, come on.
So you're right. I listened to the guy on the computer who's 40 years old over people who studied their book for more than hundreds of years. Yeah, you're right. I should just listen to you. Yeah,
Do you know, did
by
you even
your- by
know
your-
about the Book of Jubilees before I mentioned it?
brother. I'm not. Again, you hear what I said. I'm not a Christian or a Jew. I'm a Muslim.
Oh.
So when we're talking about
In a
that
roundabout
specific
way, you
verse-
didn't even know that the Book of Jubilees exists. It's an actual Jewish text that predates the rabbis.
1 second. When I bring up that
It's like
text,
it's the
I can
second
bring you
temple
scholarly. 1
And
second.
that second temple
When I
text
bring it-
says that Rebecca's age is 20.
First of
Well
all,
before the guy
it's-
who wrote about the age of 3, which was 600 years later,
Again,
so earlier, the earliest text that we
but
have on
but
Rebecca,
whether you like
why
it,
didn't the Jubilee
Okay,
author
but-
say 3? I wonder why, because
Okay.
it's not,
okay, but
that wasn't a calendar calibration he could come down to. How
But
interesting,
the
right?
problem is when you read the actual text, right? In the Bible, when you just read the text, because you're saying, "Oh, it came 3 years after."
Mm.
Well, I'm
Okay,
sorry,
so
but
where
that's
in the
book.
text
That's
does
in
it
the
say
book.
3? Where in the text does it say 3?
Again, so now you want me to be explicit when I says the age that
Yes,
she was 3?
I want you
No,
to
yes.
be very
says-
explicit. Come on.
No, you don't play games now because you know the verse. It literally mentions that you have to subtract the age of Sarah after she died, and it tells you it's pretty straightforward. So don't try to play games and swing around.
Come
Now,
on.
because you weren't
Give me chapter and verse.
able to answer. 1 second.
Yeah,
Because
just
you
let
haven't
her
brought
have
up
it
the
and
relevant
proven.
argumentation by the scholars to show you the
Because
age
you wait
range.
1 second. 1 second.
And you can't
The
even
funny thing
do
is Christians.
that to defend a
1 second.
3-year-old age.
1 second. Christians. Wait 1 second. Christians love to bring
1
up
second. 1 second.
Prophet
1
Muhammad's
second.
age.
1 second. 1 second. Is that your answer? 1 second.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Christians like
Give me
yourself love to
the
bring up the age.
verse in Genesis
One-
that says
Can I
she
finish
is
speaking?
3. Give it to me. Hello. Give me the verse.
So if I give you the verse, it's not going to explicitly say she was 3 when she married him.
Oh, it
There's-
doesn't explicitly
there's-
say. Oh.
So let me finish. It's directly saying that how old was Sarah when she died, and then how old was Isaac, and then the age you have to subtract it to get her age. It's very, very clear. And it's funny because you mentioned this because
Give me the verse.
usually
Give me the verse.
Christians don't argue
Give
this.
it to me.
Okay. You're obviously not able to answer my question because if anyone goes to Google, if anyone can do a Google search right now and screen share, how old is Rebecca when she married Isaac? The vast majority of the top 9 links would most of them, if not all of them, they would say that she was 3 years
Top
old.
9 links?
So
I'm asking for the Genesis verse. No,
so
I'm concerned
before
about
you
the
argue with
top
me,
9
1 second, 1
links in
second,
Google
1
search.
second. Before you argue with Muslims about that age, go talk to your own doctrines and go talk to your own forefathers, as you would say. Because you weren't able to answer my question, now because you go to Moses in the book of Numbers.
What the hell is going on here, man? Why are they going suddenly to Numbers 31?
I gave you
Give
3
me
points.
the
You can't
verse
answer the
in
question.
Genesis that says she's 3.
Did you not just?
My
Okay.
goodness.
Well, 1 second.
Gosh.
Isaac.
You
1 second.
seriously cannot make this up.
1 second.
You guys
second.
are insane.
Isaac. Can I finish speaking? Isaac was
hell?
4 years old. 1 second. Isaac was 4 years old when he married Rebecca. Rebecca was 3 years old when she was married to Isaac. 20 years.
How old is Isaac?
Excuse me.
How old is Isaac?
Excuse me.
How
40.
old is Isaac?
40. And according to this wiki, even like a watch.
According to what? According to...
Wait, do you see my screen share? Do you see my screen share?
Read this.
I can't see the chat. I don't even know how to use Discord.
Look at the
bro.
chat.
Holy
Open the
shit.
chat. The side chat. Here, there's the
How do
word.
I-
Okay.
Wait, how do I open it?
Na'ara, if you look at the description of Rebecca, it's described as being a little girl. Look at it. In the Hebrew. I'm pretty sure an 18-year-old is not a little girl.
Why is Rebecca given that word?
Because she's a little girl.
Where does it say that?
Yo, I don't
Where does it say
understand. Like,
she's
if
a
you go to
little girl?
Google,
Na'ara. And by the way, this is a prefix. These two are prefixes.
Mhm.
The vav is and the hey is also a prefix, and it means the. And the girl. The little girl. And here you get it. Look.
So this is Genesis 24, and it is,
Yep.
let's see, verse 16. Okay, excellent. Let's see what the Jews themselves say. Because notice the translation.
Wait.
What's the name of the translation? It's called JPS 2006. Do you know what JPS stands for?
GPS?
Yeah, do you see? In the
Well, I'm reading the
screenshot
Hebrew.
you
I'm not
sent?
reading the English.
In the screenshot you
I
sent,
mean,
it says
in the other
JPS
sense.
2006, right? Do you know what JPS stands for?
A translation?
Yes. So what does the JPS stand for?
Yeah, but I'm not.
This
I wasn't reading
group
English.
that gave you
Here's
the
thing. I was
translation
not reading the
and has given you the notes here, it's called the Jewish
Yeah.
Publication or the Jerusalem Publication Society. That's what JPS stands for. I have what's called the JPS corpus, the JPS commentaries. Let's see what the JPS commentaries say when it comes to Genesis 24. Shall we go and see? Let's do that. Let's open it. So just to clarify, yeah, the JPS Torah commentary, Genesis, commentary by Nahum Sana. This was published in 1989 by the Jewish Publication Society. All right, under the category of virgin, okay? So what's the Hebrew term? Right. It's cognates with Akkadian, Batul 2, Ugaritic, there's the Ugaritic cognate, there's the Arabic, there's the Syriac, does not by itself, without further definition, exclusively express virginity in the physical sense understood by the English word. Rather, the primary...
I mean, who's talking about virginity?
This
Not talking
is
about
the
virginity.
JPS commentary. So, it's a denotation
Go ahead.
is chronological, and the term denotes a sexually mature young girl of marriageable age, whether married or not. Thus, in Joel 1:8, so Joel 1:8 says, grieved like a virgin who, dressed in her mourner's clothes, cries out in memory of the man she is going to marry. So the same terms used there. It can use the figure of a maiden lamenting for the husband of her youth, and an Aramaic incantation text speaks of a Betultha who is pregnant. Wow! Hang on a second. You can even have a Betula who's pregnant? Can a 3-year-old get pregnant? When Akkadian texts wish to stress the preservation of bodily virginal integrity, they employ the phrase, and there's the Akkadian phrase for that, who has not known a man, which corresponds almost exactly to the additional defining clause in this verse. So, where is her ever described as the age of 3 in this passage?
I just want to dissect what he read. Now, there's 2 points we can take from this. The first one, I never mentioned virgin, being a virgin. The second part, even the word he mentions, look what it says. Without further definition, it says here, does not by itself, without further definition, exclusively express virginity in the physical sense understood by the English word. But it does not mean that the word cannot mean virgin. Now, to the other point. Now, I mentioned, if I want to share my screen again, there's the word here, and there's a prefix with the wow, and there's a definite article, hey, which means and the, and there's the word here that means na'ara. Now, I'm asking you a simple question. What does this word mean?
It just means
Go
woman.
ahead.
It just means woman. That's all
No,
it is.
what does?
It's not a young girl.
Okay, bring up the dictionary. Go ahead.
I just want to know because I don't know why I was arguing with you.
Oh, God.
What age do you? What age? I'm saying in your opinion, just off your learning.
Wait, you're
what age
asking me
was
or you're
Rebecca?
asking someone else?
You. I'm asking you. What age? How old do you think she was, or how old do you accept
Rebecca.
she was? Yeah.
20.
20?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Why would I argue 20?
Go continue arguing, bro.
Why did I argue 20? Why?
So now you want to open up a new conversation on why you argue 20, or do you want to go?
God.
This guy said this 40-year-old sitting on his laptop knows her age vividly, but the scholars who study the Bible for 400 years, they take it as your age is 3.
Look at that. That's why I argue for 20. Because well before any rabbis were conjecturing about it, you already have it in writing in Second Temple texts like the Book of Jubilees, that she died at the age of 150, which gives you the age of 20 when she married. That's why I believe, because Jubilees predate the rabbinic writings by 500 years.
Okay,
Wait,
so
what age
wait,
did
so
she
wait,
die?
one second. So for the people who think her age was 3, or for the people who think she was the age of 14, what do you say to those people?
Okay, that's a good question. What they are doing is they're trying to have a chronology of the Genesis ages, not just with Rebecca and Isaac. We're talking the Genesis 5 genealogy. We're talking all the ages given with Abraham. And there's a variation in the manuscript tradition. So the Masoretic text has different ages. The Septuagint has different ages. The Samaritan Pentateuch has different ages. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to wrestle with the fact that if we were to just do simple math, some calculations give 3, some calculations give 14. Now, the Book of Jubilees, the rabbis were ignorant about because they didn't have preserved for them,
General,
like the Book of Jubilees and the Dead Sea Scrolls.
look at my screen.
So,
Okay, but what do you say to the people? Like, what if I came to you and I was a Christian? And I'm like, yo, or what if I was a Jew and I came to you, or a Christian? Because a lot of them actually believe in this. The majority of them do. But
They
let's just
don't.
say, even if you don't,
Majority don't.
Okay,
I'm
even if
sorry.
you don't. Okay. Even if you don't,
Guys, let them look at my
What
screen.
do you say?
Let them look at my screen. I brought the dictionary.
So what
look,
I will
let them
do
open it-
is
open the
present to
screen.
them the earliest interpretation of this text, 500 years before the age 3 argument. So
Do you
500
believe
years
Rebecca died
before
at 150?
500 years before it was said that she's 3 years old, you already have people, and in this case Jews
Okay,
themselves, saying she's 20.
Okay, but
Which
so you
means
think
the
she
people
died
that
at
came
150?
after
Wait, one
are
second, one second.
wrong.
You
Their
think she died
chronology,
at
their math is
155?
wrong, because we already have Jews 500 years before that saying she's 20.
What is the age of death for Rebecca stated in the Book of Jubilee?
This is the age of death, 155. 3 Jubilees. So, for the
So
Jubilees,
you believe
49,
Rebecca was 155?
according to the Book of Jubilees, yes, which is a 2nd century BC text.
Yeah, and you're the guy that believes in evolution prior to Adam?
No, I'm not
resulting in that, and
saying.
you
I'm
think-
not saying I believe this. I'm
doesn't
saying
believe in evolution. I'm
what
pretty sure.
people at the
Wait,
time
what?
were saying is saying this. People at the time were
Because
saying
that
she's age
argument doesn't
20.
hold. If the argument of her being 20 hinges on her dying at 155 years old, which is utterly implausible given that the life expectancy at the time was 20 to 35 years old in the 2nd millennium BC, the Bronze Age, correct?
Mhm.
Why would she be 155 years old at the
Okay.
age of death? That makes
Okay.
no sense.
This then fits, if you want to go even into a deeper context, this fits a base 60 number system. That's why I don't believe 20 and 155, because see, the Jubilee calendar is based on a 360-day cycle and so on. So even the ages later on by the rabbis are well off the mark because they don't realize that they're dealing with numbers with a base 60 origin, not a base 10 origin. Now, my question back to you would be, your own Quran gives you the age of
Okay,
Noah.
stop deflecting. Answer the other guy, bro.
No. My question back would be,
Yeah, I'm
your
still
own
waiting for you.
Quran gives you the age of Noah at 950. Now, how could that work?
Yeah, maybe
Do you
because he was one of the
believe- do you
first
believe
humans.
that
Like,
Noah lived for 950 years?
I have to go. Can you
That
hurry up?
depends on the interpretation of the scholars.
On the
or
interpretation.
On
Okay.
Islamic scholars. Yeah, it's an actual disagreement among
Bring him, guys, bring him here.
On
Don't
how
hold
to
on.
measure.
yo,
Bring him
answer
to
the other
the-
guy's question. He's waiting for you.
Come here. Now, first of all, I showed you this, just to go back to the original. And I showed you where the definition of the word na'ra is girl, damsel, female servant, girl, damsel, little girl. Okay. Now I went to the dictionary. And it says a youth, a youngster, adolescent, law, or a minor. If you want to refute this, you have to bring me a dictionary where you put the same word and show me a different meaning. Now, here it says, like I mentioned before, there's a vav here, right? And that's a prefix meaning and. And then you have the definite article, which is hey, the Hebrew hey, which means D. And then you have na'ara. Na'ara, which essentially means little girl.
Yep.
Adolescent, youngster, youth. Now, in the verse here, it describes Rebecca as an adolescent, as a youth, as a little girl, as you can see in the definition itself, linked to the translation of the verse. That's it.
You see this?
Yo,
Do you see how many times this word occurs in the Hebrew Old Testament? It occurs 66 times. Are you seeing my screen? Notice, a cognate search of the term. Here are the terms over here in Genesis. It starts in 14, okay? The girl, again in 16, and the girl, right? And on it goes, okay? Now,
Uh-huh.
it
Yes.
has 66 occurrences. Now, let's see its use throughout the Torah. For example, let's go to Exodus 2:5, all right? Now, in Exodus 2:5, I'll just show you the English translation, and I'll show you the Hebrew.
Show me the Hebrew first. Show me the Hebrew first.
Well, no, I'll show you what the translation says. Then Pharaoh's daughter came down to the Nile to bathe, while her maids walked along the riverbank. She saw the container among the reeds and sent a servant girl to get it. Okay, let's see the Hebrew. Here is the Hebrew. Now, where is that specific word used?
Okay. You don't even realize that you literally. Okay. Here is the word.
Where? Where is the
In
word?
the
Is this it?
translation itself, it says in the translation itself, in the Hebrew, in the English, it literally says servant girl.
Yep.
What's a servant girl?
Yep.
What do you mean? Yeah, I'm asking you. What is a servant girl?
So I'll show you here. I'll show you. Yeah. This is what a servant girl is. You ready? Let's go with,
Didn't even read it.
here's the variations. Boy, youth, servant, youth, early life, girl, youth, early life. Let's see how it's used. Girl, maiden, young woman. This noun, na'ara, this noun usually refers to a marriageable but unmarried girl, emphasizing the youthfulness of the girl. The young widow Ruth. Widow? Whoa, she's already married. Ruth is so designated, as is the Levite's concubine and a prostitute. Wait, there are 3-year-old prostitutes? Marriageableness is implied in Genesis 24, virginity in Judges 21 and so on, and elsewhere, and betrothal in Deuteronomy 22. Parallel to the masculine 7, we find maid, like a female attendant. Interesting. So, when we come to Pharaoh's court, how interesting. We have maid servants walking along the Nile. They're not 3.
Okay.
It doesn't give you the age.
Are you finished?
Of course I'm finished.
Okay. Perfect. Go back. I want you to open up. I want you to go to the same verse. Go to the English translation of it.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want you to open up this verse. Open Sefaria. Doesn't matter. Open Sefaria. I want you to bring this exact verse in the Hebrew. Go ahead. I'm waiting for you.
What, 2:5? I
Yes.
just did. That's what I was reading from.
Bro,
Yeah,
bring the whole
this is
verse.
2:5.
Bring the whole verse. Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
This word here. This word here.
Yes, it's
This
fine.
word
Yeah.
here. It has. Okay. It has the prefix vav. It does not have the definite article, which is hey. And also, it has chef, yod, and tov added to it. Just give it a completely different meaning than the one which I quoted to you in Exodus 24:6, because this is your lack of Hebrew understanding.
No, it's not.
The word
not
itself,
my lack of
the
Hebrew
word, the
understanding.
root word. Hey, listen. This is what I'm saying. The root word is this. Let me show you. If you look at my screen still, it's turned off. Let me read it for you. Ni'ara. This is the root word. Now, with the prefix vav and the definite article followed by the word, this will mean little girl. Now, in the scenario that you're showing, there is only a prefix, which is the vav, and it means and, right? Then you have the ni'ara, the word itself, which is the root word. Then you have chet, yod, and hey, which give it the meaning of servant. This is your ill understanding of the Hebrew language. These are written differently. Why? Why do you think they're written differently? For no reason?
No, it's part of the grammar and the flow of the verse.
No. You don't even read Hebrew. That's the problem. You don't even understand. And you bring me a word which is different.
I'm familiar with the Hebrew language. So, for example, look at
Okay.
what is the Hebrew word?
But here's the question.
What is,
the word you brought
what
me
is-
here.
what is-
The word you brought me.
what
The
is
word
the
you
Hebrew
brought me.
word for
Is it the
child?
same as the one I showed you? Listen to my question. The word which I brought you, is it the same?
Is
the one I showed you, and
this
it's not.
term ever used in a parallel with Na'ara?
What do you mean?
What I have in front of me? Are these terms ever used with that term that you're saying that she's a young girl?
I mean, in the verse in the 24:16.
Anywhere in the Old Testament is the word na'ara ever used with walad or yeled?
Probably, possible.
Probably. Guess what?
Yeah.
It does not
If
occur.
it's used alone, here's the point.
It does not occur.
If there is no definite
It
article,
does not
this is my
occur.
question. This is my answer. If there is not
It
a
doesn't
prefix
define it.
and not a definite article, followed and there's no suffix
No, I'm
to
sorry.
the word, and it's possible, yes. Because na'ara,
Possible?
I agreed with you that the na'ara can mean two things. The root word can mean two things, but it depends on the prefix, the definite article, and the
yes.
suffix, which is the point I'm trying to make here. Now, in the case of the Exodus 24:16, there is clearly a prefix, there's a definite article, and there is no suffix. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
Now, if
sorry.
the word itself, if the root word, again,
Anyway,
listen.
I need to go.
If the root word is ni'ara, and there is a word by itself, and there is a word either preceding or following it, which is yalid, which is a child, then it also has the same meaning. But it's important what comes before it and what comes after it. Now, the verse you brought me in the verse 5 is not the same one as I showed you. And this is your deceitfulness trying to misconstrue it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Deceitfulness.
I have to go too.
Yes. Yes.
Before I go, I will tell you.
The age
Not a
at
single
20.
person criticized the prophet
I'm
for
the
his
one that's
marriage
being
to Aisha
deceitful.
prior to
Very interesting,
1905 in David Margoliouth's book on the rise of Islam and Muhammad, which came out in 1905. There's not a single critique regarding the age of Aisha and the prophet's marriage to her prior to that. And there are many polemics that have written against the prophet from the time of him with the Quraysh, with John of Damascus, Matthew of Paris, etc. You know the history. Why did none of them critique the prophet on that? Maybe because at those times, that was the norm regarding age of marriage, and we are anachronistically imposing our current morality onto a time in which it did not fit.
Okay, first and foremost, thank you for giving me homework to do. I'm going to check up on that. Secondly, that's presupposing that ancient cultures were like, they did that sort of thing, like age 6, age 9, because I can challenge you in return. Go to any anthropological study on the Aztecs, the Mayans, the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, ancient Sumerians. They have it in writing. I mean, you have these cognate terms like Betula, Alma, Na'ara as describing the range and the ages and so on. The average age of marriage was around 16. I mean, in Rome, you have Roman writing where it says the preferred age for women to marry was 20, 21, 22, thereabouts. You have the Book of Jubilees saying Rebecca married
girl from a
20.
woman? What separates a girl from a woman in ancient times?
Well, in ancient times, what they would do is it has nothing to do with menses. It had to do with the designation by the mother. So, for example, young girls that are not fit for marriage were not allowed to have any head covering. This is, if you go read a history book on why
what
Greek
not
women
fit for marriage
practiced this head covering practice, because they believed in their Greco-Roman medical research, they believed that head covering was to cover their long hair. Why? Because they believed that long hair was part of their reproductive system. I kid you not, that's what they believed. So, young girls that were running around without any head covering, they were not fit for marriage, and especially not for reproduction. But around the age of 16, girls were then, by their mothers, were given the prerogative to, okay, now you need to cover your hair now, which means that's a sign, that's a symbol to mean they are now able to be fertile, they're able to have children. So that cultural practice, even down to the clothing, they're very specific. Yes, the science is wrong. Yes, they're wrongfully thinking that hair, a woman's hair, is part of her genitalia and part of her reproductive system. But at least they had the common sense of going, 16 by minimum is where you can now have you can wear your head covering as a sign that now you're old enough to marry if required. Around age 20 was when they married, not 16. They made it just
royals
when you
would
turn
marry
16
at the
didn't
age
mean
of
suddenly,
2.
oh, now let's get married. No, they
The
waited till
Habsburgs would
20
betroth and have marriage at the age of 2. Like these contracts, marriage in Islam is a contract.
Show me a Roman culture or a Greek culture that says they had such contracts. Show it to me.
I'll pull up. This is something the Habsburgs did. They would have betrothals for children
Sure.
before they're even of
Show me.
age as a contract.
Even English kings,
Yeah,
they got married at
but my
9,
morality
10,
has nothing to do
11.
with English kings, what they did. I don't give a damn what they did. In my opinion,
The Orthodox
how about
Church-
I say this? In my opinion, if English kings did that, they are pedophiles. I would critique those English kings. Why?
And-
Here's why. Because
What biblical
Jesus,
basis do you have
here's
for
why. Jesus called a 12-year-old girl Talitha Kum, little lamb. If Jesus can designate as a little lamb, then any king that was marrying at 10, 12, or some young age like that, in my opinion, is a pedophile. Based on the way Jesus sees a little girl. Jesus
Then
himself
why
says,
did no
do
Christian
not
scholar-
let
why
these
did
little
no Christian
ones, don't
scholar-
cause any sin, don't stumble any of these little ones, because it would be better for that man to have a millstone rung around his neck and that he's drowned in the sea. Jesus
Then
cared
why
about
did no
children.
Christian scholar? Why did no Christian scholar critique the prophet on his age? No scholar of any kind until David Margoliouth.
I can't answer that right now because I need to go, and that's something I haven't looked into, which I will look into. So thank you for giving me homework.
The
But
name of the book
based
is Muhammad
on
and the Rise of
anthropology
Islam.
as a whole,
Margoliouth.
marrying at engaging at 6 and consummating at 9 is pedophilia. There's no way around it.
Do you know something? Until the 1850s, the legal age in most states in the USA was 10, and in Delaware, the age was 7 to get married. In the 1850s.
Samir, would you have sex with a 9-year-old back in the 700s, 800s? If you were living at time and you had the opportunity to have sex with a 9-year-old, would you do it?
So again, you avoided my question and you just jumped to
Would
something
answer the
else.
question. If you went back in time and you were living in that culture, would you do it?
This is the same thing that people say about would you have
Would
slavery?
you do
No.
it? Yes or no?
You are
Don't
imposing-
suddenly squirm and be like all silent. Answer the question. I
No,
hope you
Simon,
say no.
I advise
you don't know what went on 1400 years ago.
I
You
hope
will
you say
judge him
no.
according to today's
Yeah, you have no idea what
or
happened
back
1400
days.
years ago.
And why
You're going to
say
judge him
that?
according
If
to
I
our
had no
belief
idea what
value
happened
or-
1400 years ago, but yet you have some idea what happened 1400 years ago with such audacity.
Yeah,
to
because
say it.
till the
So which is it?
1850s,
Do we know what happened
people got
1400
married
years
at
ago, or we
10.
don't?
Till
Which
the
is it?
1850s, people got married at 10. So your entire point is
In
like,
the
go back-
1850s,
okay,
there
let's
was
go
still
back 200 years.
chattel
Yes.
slavery.
Let's go back to the 1850s. Would you do it?
Han, do you really think that you would not have been a slaveholder in the South if you were born to an antebellum family that had slaves? You would suddenly sell all of them. You would forego your culture, your cultural experience, the environment that you were brought up in.
Have you read the books?
We have
have you read the books on the antebellum South and what Christians did?
Yeah, I did.
I have.
but if
By the
you were
way, I
born
have
into
black
that family,
friends.
if you're born
who
into
are
that family,
descended from
right?
the
If you're
antebellum
born
South.
into a
I
slave
have, for
owning-
example,
if
a
you're
book
born
called
into a
Darwin's
slave owning
Sacred
family,
Cause that's connected to that fact where there were Christians and
if you're
even
born
scientists
into
like
a
Darwin
slave
himself
owning family,
were trying to solve
if
the
you're
solution of
born
that
into
issue.
a slave
It's
owning
not just a
think this
wholesale
is a very-
monolithic sort of thing like
This is-
all of
this is
them were being
rainbow
horrendous
tinted,
tyrants and
rose-
slaves.
I think us putting ourselves in the shoes
Answer
of
the
people in
question.
ancient
If you were back in
and
the 700s, would you have sex with a 9-year-old? Yes or no?
with my current thought of mind and my understanding of reality, or if I'm suddenly
Which
thrust
one?
into
Hold
that,
on, which one?
because that is not me. That is not me, Han. It is not me.
So wait.
My
With your
very
current thought,
conception,
you wouldn't have sex?
because I'm in a completely different environment and set of reality.
Boom. You've
Of course,
just destroyed Muhammad as being an example for all mankind. Wow. So
that
that
understanding
means,
of culture. You don't
morality
understand
is subjectively
You know what
defined
other
by the
than
culture.
Urfa?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
Adab and Urfa?
Yep.
You know
Their
what
7th
Han, do
century
you understand the
morality
meaning of
has
Urf?
no basis for
understand the meaning
21st century
of Adab?
morality,
Do you
and
understand the meaning
therefore
of Urf or
marrying at
Adab?
the age of 9
Do
has
you understand
nothing,
Yep.
the meaning
no
of Urf
necessary
Heavy con.
requirement in the 21st
Do you
century.
understand the
Thank
meaning
you
of Urf
for saying
or
that
Adab?
Allah is
Urf
stuck
or Adab?
in the
Urf
7th century.
or
Thank
Adab?
you for
Urf or
admitting.
Adab?